My father was murdered during my senior year of high school by a white farmer, and he was not prosecuted even though there were witnesses. So on the night of his death, I made the commitment to stay in the South to devote my life for change. And prior to that, I intended to live in the northern part of the country where I thought at that time everyone was free. I had no idea, I just thought we were suffering in the way we suffered because of the folks we had to deal with on a daily basis. I was 17 years old when I made that commitment, and my work started with the civil rights movement. And if you're going to work in the rural area of the South, then you work in they're small towns and small communities, but farming was the major way of making a living for a lot of the rural residents. So of course you're going to work with farmers. And back in those early days, that was mostly men. Women were not as involved in farming operations as the men who ran the farm. Some of them were landowners, some of them were sharecroppers. But women were there working in the sewing factories for the most part, that later, as we know, with NAFTA and other trade issues, left the area, which left them without jobs. Southwest Georgia is a very poor, it's a very rich, and then on the other hand, an area where there's a lot of poverty. When I say rich, I mean there are absentee landowners who own very big plantations. For example, one of them was owned by Robert Woodruff when he was living. Robert Woodruff was the chair of Coca-Cola. He had a 33,000 acre plantation. That was just one place he owned. But when he died, he left it as a research facility. So all of the river area and creek area is closed off to other residents in the county, even today. They claim there's a lot of research they need to do, but places we used to go and fish, you could no longer do that. So you have a lot of absentee plantation owners who live in those areas, and then you have a lot of what amounts to now is big farms, because black people, even though we farmed, we faced discrimination at the United States Department of Agriculture, which blocked us off from accessing credit and other programs that were natural for farmers. So we've lost. But in 1910, we owned over 15 million acres of land. We're down to about 2 million or less today. That's how much we've lost in terms of land. So what do you do in situations like this? You start organizing. In later years, in earlier years, I helped to organize farmers into cooperatives, and where they face discrimination at local markets, we actually connected with groups in the Northeast and Boston and other cities to actually ship produce. I can remember we were shipping seedless watermelons from Boston, Georgia to Boston, Massachusetts to access markets up here for our farmers. And then as we were losing more farmers and all, I could actually shift to begin doing more work with rural women. So I worked with women in Alabama and Mississippi, and we created something called the Southern Rural Black Women's Initiative for Economic and Social Justice. We did that in 2000. And today we have programs operating in Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, and we work together. So we're organizing young women, and we have 3 of our young women here with us from Georgia today. We have an institute for them, try to do lots of work with them on leadership development. Tiffany just had a great a workshop for blooming entrepreneurs, those who want to consider going into their own business. We created Women in Ag. So women had not been producing the food because that was the job men did. But now we have women who actually grow vegetables and and market in their own communities as well as outside of their community into school systems and so forth. We created a Black Women's Hall of Fame so that women who actually work hard in their community on a daily basis, who never get recognized for the work that they do, are actually nominated by other women in their community. And we choose women every other year to be honored. And I can tell you, one year we had 2 who were over the age of 102. You know, and it's been such a great thing for them because we have a big banquet. One year we were able to get Danny Glover, the actor, to come, and we've had the former mayor of Atlanta and many others to come and help with helping to honor them. And, you know, it takes them off guard because they've been just used to being workers. They've been just working, and so I'm trying to think of all the programs. There's so much we're doing with rural women. We're also trying to develop a food hub in our city. We were actually given nearly 47,000 square foot former Winn-Dixie store building. And so farmers will be able to bring produce in to the aggregation site to, I'm trying to watch my time, to actually be processed and taken out to school systems and other markets. So there's a lot I can share with you. Maybe during the questions, we'll be able to share a little more.